What's up, everybody? Welcome back to BCray News. It has been a minute since I did BCray News, but also it's been a minute because there's so much to talk about. But I'm not gonna do a long, drawn out introduction. Grab your drinks. We got a lot to talk about. We gotta talk about Joe Biden. We gotta talk about the diddler, P. Dilly D. We gotta talk about Chris Brown. Bruh, it is so much to talk about. But I promise I won't keep you long. But let's go ahead and get into it. If you're new to my channel on BCray, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Click the bell. You know when I post a new video. So let's go ahead and get into it. Let's go ahead and talk about what everyone's talking about. I wanted to save this video till today, talking about P. Diddy, because it is so much to talk about in a week, right? So I want to try to wrap up what happened in this week, right? So first, let's go ahead and start off. So if y'all know, P. Diddy's on trial for sex trafficking. I think it's like building an enterprise. I think it's building an enterprise and some more RICO law or whatever. So throughout the week, the state who is doing the prosecuting have had 3 people on the stand. They had the bodyguard, they had a dancer that supposedly was paid to sleep with Cassidy, and then they had Cassidy on the stand. Just to wrap up a lot of what they said that yes, P. Diddy had these freak offs. Yes, they had to go buy all this stuff, and they had to make sure that P. Diddy was good when it comes to his freak off. I think that the bodyguard said after, so they played the video of that famous elevator hotel video where you saw P. Diddy kicking Cassidy in the hallway, dragging her back to the hotel room. So the security guard kind of corroborated that story, saying that yes, he was there. He was, P. Diddy looked at him. He knows to go on there and grab the tape, make sure everything's good to go. So he kind of corroborated that part. The dancer who they put on the stand next, his part was that P. Diddy saw him in the club and hired him to come back home and sleep with Cassidy. That's in general what they had said that had happened, right? So that built up to Cassidy taking the stand next. Y'all know that she's pregnant. She probably had her baby by now. I haven't looked it up, but they said she was pregnant. She would have had a baby sometime this weekend because she was due. So she took the stand. When she took the stand, bruh, the things she said, it hit. If you didn't know anybody, it hit heartstrings, man, because she really went into the things she went through with P. Diddy, like how he beat on her so bad that she hid behind a dumpster one day. Like how she had to do the freak offs. She didn't have an option but doing the freak offs. But she was also told she had to plan the freak off as well. You know what I'm saying? So she had to plan it, find the people, and do it. She said there was one time they had a 96-hour freak off. Drug-filled 96. Bro, that's like a whole week. That's a whole week. Like, how can you freak off for a whole week? Like, I guess drugs will put your body to do some strange things, because 96 hours is a long time to be doing anything sexual, especially for a straight 96 hours. Bruh, my goodness. But, she went in there, she talked about that, giving very detailed information about, what was going on during these freak offs. I think there was one time where she said once the male had got to his point and he put out his liquids, he had to put his liquid on P. Diddy's upper chest area, and she had to lick it off. It's just things like that. It is ironic to her what goes on in people's bedrooms, or their freak level. Like, she was saying things that made R. Kelly look like he was doing kids play, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, both situations are not funny, but that's just, people are comparing it to, because there are 2 big people in this music mogul world. So that was that. So the defense attorney got their chance to go up there and cross-examine Cassidy. The reason why I'm not talking about the testimony that the bodyguard gave and that the stripper gave, there wasn't too much talk about that. The biggest talk was talk about Cassidy's statements and her testimony on the stand. She when the defense attorneys got to her, they pulled up text messages about she talked about how much she loved P Diddy, how she enjoyed the freak offs, because there were times she said, I really enjoyed these freak offs, I had fun, it was this, that, and the third. So they're trying to paint the picture that she was not made to do it. She enjoyed doing it. And that's kind of the picture that they're trying to put into the jury's mind. But also, if you're the prosecutors, they're putting this thing into the jury's mind that P Diddy is a human being who used his position and power to get what he wants from people, trying to build this enterprise to where he sex trafficking people to get to these freak offs and things like that, and then blackmail people to be involved in these freak offs to keep their mouth shut about it. She also testified that said that P Diddy had threatened to blow up her boyfriend at that time, Kid Cudi's car, if she did not perform the freak off or do what she was told inside the freak off. I think reports were his car did blow up eventually. So it's just so much. It was just appalled at things you hear. But at the end of the day, these people are human, so we can't continue to expect greatness from these stars, because at the end of the day they're still human. They're like everybody else. So that's that. But it's news, and I like the news. Let's talk about Smokey Robinson. So Smokey Robinson is also getting brought up on sexual assault charges. I think there are two female. I think there was his housekeepers that came in and said that Smokey Robinson put hands on them in a sexual manner. So he's trying to fight that. His attorneys already came on and said that Smokey Robinson did not touch anybody. But here is the question of the day, right? After that, here's the question of the day. Do you think a lot of people are getting caught now due to the fact that there's cameras on our phones that record 4K and now can record it and show it to the world? Now they have something solid to put in people's faces. Then back then, where women were rarely believed when it came to being sexual assaulted or sex trafficked or anything along those lines. That is the question of the day. Personally, I believe that it is more. A lot of these men are getting in trouble because there are now cameras. Like, there are now cameras to show what these people are doing. And now it's hard not to believe a female like it was back in the day. Back in the day, they looked at females like, know your role, do your place, go in the kitchen, lay on your back or whatever. But now, the females have proof to show, and that way is changing. So yeah, so I got a feeling a lot of more stars is coming down the pipe for sexual assault because they can't keep their hands to yourself. Like, how do you have all that money, but you gotta blackmail people, you gotta threaten people to get what you want? It's a lot of females or males, whatever your taste is, out here who be willing to do whatever you want to do with them, like with the money you got. That's just my opinion on that one. Next, let's talk about Chris Brown. So, y'all know Chris Brown's supposed to start tour mid-June. Supposed to start his tour. I'm trying to see, can I squeeze in a stop at one of his concerts? I'm trying to see, can I squeeze it in? But as y'all know, Chris Brown is in jail in the UK. He is in jail because I think he hit a promoter with a bottle, and they said they were going to keep him in jail until, I want to say, June 13th. And I think his tour starts like June the 11th. I think his first tour stop is June the 11th. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's what I read. So how can he perform a tour when he's already locked up in jail? So I don't know. I think that I am a big Chris Brown fan. Y'all know I'm a big Chris Brown fan. I'm a big Beyonce fan. I'm a big Chris Brown fan. I'm a big Chris Brown fan because Chris Brown put out good music. He puts out really good music. Something to keep you moving, something to keep you going, the whole 9 yards, right? And then I've seen a shift in Chris Brown. I've seen a shift in him trying to stay out of trouble now. but this right here, putting him in jail for something that happened last year. So the part is that he's staying in jail until his trial starts. That's the big part. So that is so. It's sad, but there have been no further information on whether they're going to change the date of the tour, they're going to get people money back, anything along those lines. I think his attorneys are still fighting to get him out of jail, but we'll see in time what's going to happen with that one. Next, let's switch to a little bit of the politics side, and then I got two things of politics. Well, before we go to politics, let's talk about the dude that got shot in jail. The dude that got Tory Lanez. I mean, he didn't get shot, he got stabbed. So Tory, if you're not living on the rock, Tory Lanez, I think it was week before last, he got stabbed in jail. I think they punctured his liver. I think it was like 11 stab wounds or whatever. They said he's fine, but he got stabbed. I don't know what to say about that. I guess all I can say is it's karma. You shoot people, people stab you. The world has a way of giving your karma back to you. It is what it is, though. Let's go ahead and talk about Donald J. Trump. So, the president. So, for those of y'all have been keeping up with, I know a lot of y'all don't do politic news, but I have to put it in because this is something they've been talking about for a long time, and I want your opinion on it down in the comments. So, the Dubai prince or Dubai government is gifting the United States a jumbo jet, a 747 jumbo jet. And President, Trump said he wants to use that as the new Air Force One because Boeing is taking too long to build the two new Air Force Ones. That supposed came in, I think it's what originally came last year. It was pushed to 2029. Then I think it was pushed back up to 2027. So Donald Trump has said it is stupid if the U.S. do not accept this gift from the Dubai people, and he's saying that this is Trump words. He said, like, we go to these big places and we see everybody pull up in their nice big jumbo jets and their nice big jets, and their presidents and prime ministers things like to get off, and then we're here with a 40-year-old jet. So, in other words, I think he's just jealous that everybody else have a new car and he don't. But here is my dilemma, right? You are taking a gift from a country that has ties to terrorist activities, right? What makes you think that they don't have, this plane is not a blackmail or a bribe into getting something later on down the road? So, as you know, the Dubai prince talked to President Trump about lifting sanctions on Syria. Sanctions were put on Syria because they didn't know how to act. They were just bombing innocent people. So sanctions were put on Syria. So they released some sanctions on Syria. So this is my mind, and I'm looking at this from an intelligence standpoint, right? You're gifting us a plane. I know people are like, oh, they're gonna rip that plane from the rooter to the tutor, and they is. They're gonna rip that plane away from the rooter to the tutor, and they are. But the world we live in, people are getting smarter. What makes you think they're not gonna put stuff on that plane that we're not gonna find? And then he's trying to find a private contractor to do the work, to get the plane ready to go. He wants the plane done I think he wants the plane done by June or July. So that brings a very short, it's like 18 weeks, I think. I think he said 18 weeks, plus or minus. He wants the plane ready to fly. But now you're spending more money into getting that plane up than to try to send in reinforcements to help with the other two planes that Boeing is making. And most of these backups and things are, like it said, I think people say there are clearance issues with some of the workers building in Boeing. And there's some help. There are some issues getting some of the parts. Because you and I both know that the Air Force One is a flying White House. It is so much intel and comms and bombs and bomb detection and armor and all this stuff and defense systems and all that that's put into this plane, and you're trying to take it and put into I think they said that's a 13-year-old plane that they're getting from Dubai. What makes you think the price is going to be any cheaper? At the end of the day, I think they're bribing President Trump, and I think they're going to eventually going to ask for something in return, and then that's going to happen. But how do y'all feel about it? Do you at the end of the day, President Trump took the plane, but at the end of the day, do you think that is there more to this than what meets the eye? That's the question of the day. Is there more to this plane than meets the eye? That's the biggest question. And then on top of that, we still got tariffs and all that stuff. Tariffs and all that stuff going on. I'm not talking about all that crap anymore because it's stupid. The last thing I want to talk about is President Biden. So today, like probably even 3 hours before I started this, they said that he was diagnosed with prostate cancer, but they said it's kind of aggressive. But they said he's gonna go under chemotherapy for it, and people are sending out their prayers and all. But keep in mind, this man is 81 years. Biden is 81 years old. So I don't know. Can his body take as much chemotherapy at 82 as somebody else can? But keep Biden in your prayers, people, because he regardless of how you feel, whether he did a good job as president or he did a bad job as president, he made president. He did his job. So please keep him in your prayers. That's the biggest part of that one. I keep y'all updated on what goes on with that. People, that's all I got for you today. That's it. That's all I'm going to talk about. The bigger portion of this was talking about P. Diddy. Let me know down in the comments, do you think Diddy is going to get found, Diddy is going to be found guilty or not? Even though we have a couple of months left on this trial, right now, from my point of view, I don't think the prosecutors have laid out evidence to support what they're trying to charge him for. As you look at the Diddy trial, I need you to think in your mind, Diddy is not on trial for abuse, and he's not on trial for drugs. He's on trial for something totally different. So you have to make sure that you don't get that confused. He's on trial for sex trafficking, interstate commerce, building an empire and using his position and power to blackmail people into doing sexual acts for him. Along those lines. It's something along those lines. So keep that in your mind. So keep that in your mind as you continue to look at the trial. Get out of your mind, because he's not on trial for abuse. He's not on trial for domestic abuse. He's not on trial for any of that whatsoever. All right. He's not on trial for prostitution. None of that stuff. All right. So just keep in mind. But anyway, people, that's all I got for you. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Continue to pray for each other like I always pray for you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for everything you do for the world. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace.